hear us? All right. Quick mic check. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes? Okay. Thumbs up, Ashlyn. I can see you. All right, cool. All right, so. Oh, that's good. How's he doing?
Pretty good.
So today we're going to go over proactively handling rebuttals. Proactively handling rebuttals. Where to do it in a presentation, give us some tips and pointers, and we should be pretty quick today with the information. So we could do probably about 40, 45 minutes, give it a little break, and then wrap up with a half hour, or we could just run right through it for a good hour, 15 minutes or so, maybe hour and 20, and just get done. So however you guys are feeling. What do you guys think? Want to run right through, take a little break?
Yeah, we could run. I mean, I'm run.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Oh, should I get the rebuttal sheet out?
No, you don't need the rebuttal sheet. So what we're going to go over is proactively handling rebuttals today. Okay. So obviously, when you give your presentation, there's at the end of the presentation, you're going to get some rebuttals sometimes. And after they give you the rebuttal, you can handle it, but that's more of a reactive approach, right? So we don't want to wait until they give us this rebuttal and then have to like come back at it with our rebuttal back to them, which is trained right in your script. I want to think about it, I can't afford it, and I don't need it. Those are the three biggest rebuttals that you're going to get. So once again, it's I want to think about it, I can't afford it, and I don't need it. Those are what most people are going to tell you at the end. So we have to make sure that throughout the presentation, we proactively handle those and we address that stuff. And they say you want to beat it up front before they ever give it to you. So, and the philosophy behind this is a little different too. It took me a while to really get this. I always thought that, yeah, you want to beat them so they don't give them to you, because once they give them to you, now you got to react and try and fight and combat. It's better if they just never even give you the rebuttal in the first place. And that's basic, idea of it. It's like a more of a barbaric idea. So when you think more intellectually about it, though, I learned this maybe 7 years ago. So I've been doing sales for probably 7 years, and it took me about 7 years to really, 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 really know why is it so important to not even get a rebuttal. And I was like, you don't want to get a rebuttal, because if you don't get a rebuttal, you're going to make the sales. I thought that's what it was. And that is, but the reason that you do not want to get a rebuttal is because as soon as that client says whatever that rebuttal is, as soon as they say that into the air and into the universe, it now exists, and you don't really even want that in the universe. You don't even want those words to ever get out. And what happens now is, if I say like, I can't afford this to you, now I am going to feel inclined to prove to you that I can't afford it. You know what I mean? Once I say words, I'm going to start to feel inclined to back up those words. To prove it, yeah. And if my wife was sitting next to me and I told you I can't afford it, now I'm going to even feel more inclined, because she just heard me say it to you, and I can't look like a liar. I said we can't afford it. We can't afford it. But so you don't ever really wanted to say that. I need to think about, whatever those words are, then they're going to feel inclined to prove it, right? What's the approach? So I'm going to give us the areas, and I'm going to give us some good systems, just basic, easy system to remember to put in place. Okay, so this is going to be, we'll get started with the Steve Greer method to handling rebuttals. Steve Greer is the CEO of our company, and I was privileged to travel from Pittsburgh to New Jersey one time, and all the a handful of like some of the SGAs that were available on the East Coast went to visit the agency all at the same time and shared best practices. And this was when he was an SGA at the time, and he taught us this method to handling rebuttals, and I'll never forget it because I thought it was genius and it's perfect. So, and it's easy to teach. So it's easy to learn and it's easy to teach. So I like that, because if you ever, want to get into leadership and management and you want to kind of help your people handle a rebuttal or something, this will just give you, instead of giving them, all right, yeah, there's just 72 things you got to do to handle the rebuttal. That's going to be hard for them to remember. If you could give them like a 3-step method, a lot easier, right? So it's a 3 or 4-step method, depends on how you want to categorize it, okay? But we'll go through this together. So throughout the presentation, there's built-in script, okay? And in the script, there are parts of the presentation when you address these rebuttals proactively with the client. The first one we're going to talk about is I don't need it. When do we address I don't need it with the client?
Would that be in the will when you're asking them whether or not they have life insurance?
When you get to the will part and you're asking them if they have life insurance, that's when we get that information out there on the table for sure. But that's not what I'm looking for. So there's a part in the presentation where we address the I don't need it. Look, so I'll just get to it. No, it's even before that. So at the beginning, when you tell them why we are here, that also beats, because the biggest thing that they're going to hit. Why do they say I don't need it, right? Why are they going to tell you they don't need it? I looked into this, guys. The biggest reason why the clients think that they don't need it is because they think they already got it. Because they'll tell you this, I don't need it. I already have this stuff through work. That's the biggest one. So they're going to say, I don't need it. I already have this stuff through work. So at the beginning, if you remember, we say, so Joe and Mary, let me just catch up to speed on why we are here today. Your president, John Smith, contracted through our company, American Income, to make sure that you and all of the members had guaranteed permanent life benefits. The problem and concern that they are running into, and remember, problem and concern, we got to have those dropping throughout our presentation, because they're not going to care about the solution until they care about the problem. So, the old saying is, they say, don't even sell the solution. You got to sell the problem, because if they're actually bought in that this is a real problem, then they're gonna care about the solution. And what happens in sales is we get so caught up in our product, we get so caught up in our solution, and we're so good at selling our product, and we're so good at highlighting it and selling the solution. But remember, the client doesn't even care about the solution until they know that there was a problem. That's like me trying to sell you 4, right? But we didn't even know that there was a problem, 2 plus 2. You didn't even know 2 plus 2 was your problem, and I'm trying to get you 4, right? So I got to get you to, believe in that problem. So anyways, you say, Joe, Mary, let me caught up to speed on why we're here today. Your president, John Smith, contracted through us, American Income, to make sure that you and all of your members have guaranteed permanent life benefits. The problem and concern that they've been running into is that most of our members, they have group coverage through their employer. Joe and Mary, when you work with a company, they typically provide the employees with benefits. At least most companies do. And sometimes those benefits, there's life insurance involved. Well, what typically happens whenever you leave that company with all of those workplace benefits? That's right. They'll say like they go away or something. I guess I'll say, let's say that you quit, get fired, or you retire. what typically happens to your benefits then? That's right, they go away, right? So for most of our members, this becomes a problem because now they're at an age when they really need their benefits and they just lost all of their benefits. So you're president, and right now, guys, we're contracted and we work with over 30,000 different unions, credit unions, and associations worldwide. And what we do, the main thing we do for them is we provide them with all of their guaranteed permanent life benefits. So today, Joe and Mary, this will be your enrollment period. I'll make sure I answer all of your questions and go over all your benefits for you today. And if it makes sense, we need to make sure that we get your American Income Life paperwork taken out and get your life benefit or your American taken care of so you can get your permanent life benefits as well. So at the beginning, I literally tell them, like, you know how you have workplace benefits? You know how you have that stuff? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, well, guess what? That's why we're here today. That's the problem. The problem is you have coverage through work. That's the problem. So at the end, they can't say to you, or they shouldn't be saying to you at least, they shouldn't say, well, this is all good, man. I appreciate this information that you went over with me, but I just don't really need this right now because I have stuff through work. You say, whoa, you must have missed the whole reason that your president even contracted through us. It's because you have stuff through work. That's the problem. That's why our company exists. You know, if everybody had guaranteed benefits, our company wouldn't have no place to be and we wouldn't be in business right now. You know, so it's that whole mindset, that process. So if you address it with them up front, they understand it, and then you say to them, Joe and Mary, whenever you quit, get fired, or retire, what typically happens to your benefits? Let's say you leave your company. What happens? And then what are they tell you, oh, I lose my benefits. So they told you, so at the end of the presentation, they can't be like, well, I don't need this. I'm like, what? You told me you lose your benefits. What are you talking about? You know, they won't even say it because they already said that they told you that, right? It's different if I say it to them. So you guys got to know this. When you do your presentations in general, there's two ways to tell them something. I could tell them or they could tell me, and it's the same thing. Like this, for instance, so Joe and Mary, whenever you work with a company, they provide all the employees with benefits. Well, typically they do that. Most companies do. But whenever you leave a company, you know what they do with your benefits? They go away. Say you quit, you get fired or retire, the members, they lose their benefits immediately, or maybe like 30 days will go by and they lose all their benefits. Does that make sense? Okay. See how I just told you? All you did is just go. You right? It's not the same. So I could get you to tell me through it's a loaded question. It's not like it's an open. I'm like, oh, I hope he says the right answer. It's a loaded question. I've asked this a million times, and every single person goes, you lose them. You know, I said, what happens after you quit, you're fired, or retire? You have that exactly, Joe. You lose your benefits, right? And that was the biggest problem and a major concern. You know, that's why we're here today. That's why your president contracted through us. I know you have group benefit. So that's the first thing. Okay. Now they also may get that all, and you still can get, I don't need it at the end rebuttals. You still can get those. But if you handle this proactively and you do this part the right way, it should handle the majority of the ones that you get. Okay. But also, if at the end the client says to you they want to, they don't need it, right? All you do is you go like this. You number one, you understand, so you relax and reflect, and you say, I understand and I agree with you. Whatever they say, I don't care what they say, right? I understand and I agree. The number one rule of sales is this: when you get a rebuttal, what's the number one rule of sales? Always agree. Always agree. You never go no. You don't say no to a client. You don't tell people no and you're trying to sell them something. That's not a good thing to say no, right? So you agree with them, and it's hard sometimes. Yeah, I just, I really, I don't need this right now, man. I have stuff through work. I was like, okay, yeah, I can definitely understand with that, and I agree with you. I definitely agree. You do have stuff through work. What am I going to disagree? I agree. You have stuff through work, right? However, if you could remember back when I went over at the beginning how your president contracted through our company, and the main reason was because everybody already has those group coverage, but when you quit, get fired, or retire, what typically happens, that's why we work. So the key, guys, is you can go back to where you beat the rebuttal and remind them of it if you beat the rebuttal. But let's say you never beat that rebuttal proactively, right? And then at the end, they give you the rebuttal. You can't say, well, you remember how we were, when I was going over with you, the reason why your president contracted through us and how, they're not permanent benefits. And that's why we have them, remember how you can't go over that with them and remind them of it if you never hit it in the first place. So hitting it in the first place, number one, proactively beats the rebuttal. It cuts down on the chances of them giving you that rebuttal at the end. But if they even still do give it to you, it gives you that spot to just go back and remind them of it, and allows you to continue to move. So I'll give you the 3-step, process when I hit in a minute here. But I kind of already did. Okay, I already gave it to you. But the first place we beat it is what? Right there in the beginning part, when I call that why we are here. The why we are here part. So when you hit them with the why we are here and just telling them that, now if it's a child safe, if it's a will kit, you still tell them why we are here. But instead, you'll drop the police unions. And Joe and Mary, biggest reason that we're out working, the clients, we work with over 30,000 different unions, credit unions, and associations. One of them is the International Union of Police Association, the American Federation of Teachers, and the American Firefighters Association. We work with them to get the child safety kits out to the community. And our company is 100% used. So we work with these organizations and we provide them with their permanent benefits. And what happens is the president contract through us, and I just go through the whole thing again. You just lead the beginning part in, but like, from the child safety program, we're with the International Union Police Associations, we're 100% union, and then you go into the same thing you normally would say. With the will kit, you say the same exact thing. We're with the International Will Kit program, and our company is 100% union. Here's the problems we're running into with people who are retiring and losing their benefits. So that's the first part. The second, so I don't need it, right? What are the other 2 rebuttals we got to get to now? We got to make sure we beat I can't afford it, and I want to think about it. So the next part in your presentation, if you go through now, is we do all we walk in and we build rapport. So hey, you build rapport with the client. After you build rapport with the client, then we tell them why we are here. After we tell them why we are here, then we go into their no-cost benefits. My transition from the why we are here to the no-cost benefits, the segue for me is the intro video. So I play the intro video. You guys do whatever you want, but I play it because it makes me look like I'm with a real company, especially at POS, because they're never going to see a commercial. They see a commercial for all the other companies out there, but they never see a commercial for our company. So I tell them this is the only thing you're ever going to see, the only video, only like commercial, if you want to call it, for our company and for your life insurance company.
Which video is it?
The intro video.
The full intro video?
Yeah, it should just be like, I think it's just called intro video. Yep. So it's the first video you play. And then after the intro video, plus that gives me time to just chill for a minute, catch my bearings, get my stuff ready, think about my next few moves I'm about to make, right?
That's the one that's right before Richard Trump, right? Or that.
Maybe that is the one Richard Trump. I think Richard Trump is the video, the intro video. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one is. Yeah. So after the Richard Trump, after that video plays, then I say, so your first no cost benefit is and then whatever it is, it's the AD&D certificate, go over that. Then the child safe, then the will kit or family information guide, and the AIL Plus card, give them their benefits. After that, then we go into what? The difference between whole life and term, right? After the difference between whole life and term, then we go through the needs analysis. And right after the needs analysis is when I'll say, now Joe and Mary, this is your mandatory read-off letter. On your e-app, when you click next after the needs analysis, so after you fill out the needs analysis and you click next, what's going to pop up on your screen is the mandatory read-off letter. So it's right on your screen. So if you're virtual, you just share that screen, show it to the client. If you're in a home, you just take your computer turn it and face it right to the client so they can see it. And then you say, please follow along as I read this off to you. This is your mandatory read off letter. And then I just read, dear valued member, the benefits to being made available to you today are on a voluntary basis through cooperation of your organization, and which is the Operating Engineers Local 346 and American Income Life. American Income Life has a long-standing history of working with its groups and its members, providing them with permanent life benefits and supplemental benefits. These benefits they're not meant to replace. They can complement or help out with whatever it says in that thing, right? Okay, and then it says, please listen to the representative, which is me, as they go through your benefits for you today. All right, and then after I read them the letter, then what do? What do you think we do? We take the letter down so they can see me again. So if it was in person, I would take the laptop and I would turn it away and set it to the side. So it's not even in the picture anymore. It's just me and them, right? If it's on the screen, I screen share. And this is where you don't look at yourself talking. This is a big thing. Look at the camera. Certain parts of the presentation, you're going to want to really make sure you're looking at the camera. This is where I would look at the camera. And I say, so basically, Joe and Mary, what they're saying is that if as I go through these benefits and you guys are nodding your head, you're thinking these are great benefits and you can see why they set this up, it fits a need for you and your family, they're going to ask you to try and qualify today while we're here. But on the flip side, as I go through the benefits and you're nodding your head and you think they are great benefits, but it just doesn't fit a need for you and your family today, they're going to actually ask you to try and not qualify for the benefits. Either way, though, they're asking us to make a decision today, just in fairness to all the other members that are waiting to enroll into the program. And the nice thing is they're pretty much a no-brainer. So you're going to know one way or not whether it fits a need for you and your family. They just didn't want me to go through everything, and then you say something silly like you wanted to think about it or something like that. Does that make sense, Joe? Does that make sense, Mary? And after I'm done with everything, just as feedback to go to your president and feedback to go to the organizations that we work with, I just ask you if you wouldn't mind giving a quick review when I'm done. I'll actually have you just hop on a Google and we can just give a quick review when we're done. If you guys wouldn't mind that, I really would appreciate that. And then that's how you handle proactively. I want to think about it.
The question, that review, is it on the just VNA website on Google?
Yeah, you go to Google and type in the VNA agency, and then you just you make a Google review. Yeah. And by the way, if you guys want to do a Google review, like as an agent, if you haven't done one, definitely do one, but do it not from the office. Supposedly they check your IP addresses and they know stuff like that. I don't know how they know any of that stuff, but they do. So they just don't want a bunch of get all your employees in here and lock them in a room and tell them you're going to fire them if they don't write, good reviews on Google. So anyways, do it when you go home or when you're somewhere else. And also if you could ask your friends and family too, to do that as well and give you a review. It could, it don't even have to be real. You could be your uncle can just say, hey, my nephew, or, you don't have to say my nephew, you just say, John Smith, is a great representative. He serves families really well, and he's one of the hardest working people we know. Whatever. You can get 5 or 6 or 10 Google reviews for yourself just by asking your friends that, hey, hook me up with a quick review, and it just makes you look stronger with all these 5 stars when they type in your name on there, because that's what they do these days. It's sad, but it's the truth. So you just got to play the game. Whatever the game is, it's the game. And your resume is pretty much, what they go on Google and type your name in these days. Like, let me Google them. I'm going to Google them and see what comes up.
Everybody does that nowadays. They Google everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. I Google and YouTube everything. I'm big, YouTube. I'm on YouTube University, man. I'm on it. So, but you got to decipher and know who's saying what and what you're getting from what resources and everything. But yeah, so your social media accounts, you definitely want to clean those up if they don't look good, and I've had some people that worked here that used to be like hip hop stars, you know what I'm saying, and they had to clean it up a little bit, it wasn't, if a client went on there, they might get kind of worried or something. Look,
Like what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So you just want to, keep that conscious. That's all. People are going to look at your Instagram and your Facebook if you put yourself out there, and when you get into sales, there's no religion. There's no politic talk. You can't talk politics, can't talk religion. It's just what you got to do. You got to accept that, and,
Agree with whatever they say and move on to the.
yeah, well, if I go up and I start making posts all over social media about, everybody needs to be Democrats or everybody needs to be Republicans, like, well, if I tell everybody that you need to be Democrats, then you know what? Then every person who's Republican is going to hate me, and I just lost 50% of everybody. And then if I say, well, I'm really a Republican, then all the Democrats are going to hate me. I just lost 50% of everybody, So I don't even deal with that shit. I don't even deal with it. My whole thing this year was like, who do you vote for if you don't know who to vote for? What do you do? Like, that's a real problem. What do you do? Flip a coin? I don't think that's right. Do I not vote? I don't think that's right. Do I just vote and pick somebody? I don't know if that's right because I don't feel either one's right. What do you do? Nobody got an answer for me. Nobody got an answer. What do you do? You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So I don't even get into it. That's like literally talk about being middle of the road. I'm so middle of the road. Like I don't even know. I don't even care.
I had people ask me that before, like, well, but this, that. Sorry, sir. Honestly, I don't really pay attention to politics, so I don't really know who I would vote for, what area I would go into.
Yeah.
I just live my life on a daily basis as it goes. That's it.
Just tell them you don't deal with politics. So, anyways, the second part to beat the rebuttals, the second one we did, I don't need it. Now we just did, I want to think about I want to think about it. We proactively handle that. Okay. And here's what's cool. I don't have to teach you nothing. That's in your script. You already know that, right? We don't have to do no work on that today. That's you read the paragraph, you read the mandatory read off letter, and then you give them a good paragraph after, right? I like adding that line in there to just say, let me go through it. After you tell them, so either way, they want you to make a decision today, and they want to make a decision today, yes or no, and finish all their members waiting to enroll. Oh, and the nice thing is, this part right here, we said the nice thing is, it's pretty much a no-brainer. By the time I go through everything, you're going to know one way or not whether it fits a need for me and for you and your family. They just didn't want me to go through everything. And at the end, you say something silly, like you wanted to think about it, right? Does that make sense? So, adding that part in at the end, and then following it up with the Google review allows you to change topic on them. So it's not like they're going to be sitting there and like, what do you mean? You're going to, like, I immediately change the topic on them, and I go right into it. And then also, we're going to ask you these a quick Google review at the end, just to give feedback to your president, just to make sure I didn't hop on a Zoom call, and start trying to put on a rap concert or something for you guys, whatever. So, so that's that. Now, immediately after that, I go right into handling the pay, the money. So I'm like, we're going to get two of them out of the way right now. I want to think about it, and I can't afford it. So I can't afford it I'll give you two of them. Okay. The one that I use, most is the first one. And it's so simple. It just says, Joe and Mary, they always make me ask. This is your segue. This is your transition from the paragraph after the mandatory read off letter, from the Google review, to I can't afford it. The line is this: they always make me ask. Okay. And then you say, if you were to set aside $5 out of every 100 that you took home to protect your family. So you say, out of every $100 you took home, if you set aside $5 out of every 100 to protect your family, would that take food off your table or drastically change your lifestyle? No, most members say it wouldn't either. They just didn't want to show you something that you need, but you wouldn't be able to afford. So if you set aside $5 out of every $100 that you took home, and you set that aside to protect your family, would that take food off your table or drastically change your lifestyle? Most members say that it wouldn't. They just didn't want to show you something that you need, but something that you need, but you wouldn't be able to afford. And then I just keep moving from there. Now, the other way you can handle it is the hour power. So that's the $5 question. The other one's called the hour power, which you probably heard before. You know, it's the whole premise on hour power. And you say, so Joe and Mary, what's the segue again? They always make me ask. They always make me ask. So whether you do the $5 question or whether you do the hour power, you're always going to start it out with, they always make me ask. Let's imagine you walked into work on Monday and the boss pulled everybody aside and said that everybody is going to get an extra hour this week in our pay. So instead of 40, we're going to all take home 41 hours. Well, Joe, that might feel pretty good, taking home an extra hour for the week. But we're probably not going to run home and tell the family, let's take a trip to Disneyland. And when we come back, we're going to go buy a new Cadillac because I got 1 extra hour in my pay this week. Right? We're probably not going to be able to do that. Now, on the flip side is imagine you walked into work and the boss put everybody aside, but he said, now we're all going to get cut back by an hour. So instead of 40, we're all taking home 39 hours. Okay, that might make a little bit of a difference, taking home 1 hour less for the week. But we're probably not going to run home, have a family meeting and tell them we got to cancel the vacations this year, sell the car, all because we lost an hour. So, Joe and Mary, wouldn't you agree that whether we got 1 extra hour for the week in our pay or whether we got cut back by an hour for the week and we lost an hour, either way, does it make that big of a difference? Great. They figured they could take that hour that doesn't make a difference, 1 hour. They figured they could take that hour and they could put it towards something that would make a difference. And that's the hour power one. So it depends on how you're feeling, but whatever your go-to is, whatever you're stronger at. But if it's a union guy, girl, family, it's a union family, and they are getting paid hourly and they are getting paid weekly, and it's union, I would go with the hour power all day. You know, it just makes so much sense. It's easy for them to understand. It's a good story to tell. You know.
And he puts them in a mentality in which an extra hour is not going to be a big difference. An hour less is not going to be a big difference. So I could cover that gap of that hour with that amount that I would have made with that hour extra, you know, like cover that insurance gap.
Exactly.
So he puts them in that mentality, like, okay, I could spend an extra hour in this benefits.
Yeah, and it puts them in a mentality, it's just an hour worth of wages, you know, so it takes it out of the money numbers. So before, we're just talking about $5. This takes the money aspect out of it and goes strictly to hourly, you know, so it's a different mindset a little bit too. Okay. All right. So now we got them, guys. And here's the cool thing. What I just taught you is nothing you already know. It's all in your script pretty much. You know, it's all, but what I want to do is review that and go over the importance of why and where we're saying these things, why we're saying these are the 3 parts in your presentation where you proactively handle those rebuttals. And now once you handle them proactively, now when we get the rebuttal, we're going to have some system to rely on to get us back on the sale. So the system is always number 1 when they give you a rebuttal. Well, the system that's why it's like, I don't know how many steps it really is. Okay. Because I think the first step in the system is to proactively handle the rebuttals during the presentation. If you don't do that, then you can't do nothing else. So step 1 is proactively handle the rebuttal in the presentation. Now, once they give you the rebuttal, here's the system. Once they give you a rebuttal, here's the system. First thing we do once they give us the rebuttal, this will be step 2 or whatever you want to put it on here, but the first thing we do once we get the rebuttal is, remember, it's always relax. Relax and you agree and proceed. Agree and proceed. So the key words here are this, ready? I understand what you mean. I understand where you're coming from. I agree with you. Literally just say those words to them. I agree. I understand where you're coming from. I agree with you. And you want to add a great one in here. Ready for the topper? Most of my best clients felt the same way. Hit them with those three, man. I agree with you. You definitely makes sense. I understand. Makes sense. You can say it makes sense. I understand. I agree. Most of my best clients, they felt the same way. Right? So you agree with them. Then you go like this, and you go, but however, if you could remember back in the presentation when I was explaining to you that letter, the mandatory read-off letter, and basically how they wanted us to make sure that, by the end, that we made a decision, yes or no, just in fairness to all the other members waiting to enroll. That's why they tried to make it like a no-brainer for us, Joe and Mary. So I understand, like, you want to think about it, right? But if you really think about it, they've already really thought about it for us. That's why they put this in place and did this on the enrollment basis. Okay, so so where I'm at here, I'm going a little on script, but after we agree, the next thing is what? Go back to, if you could remember when we went over, and you go back to the presentation where you went over it and literally repeat it to them again because they didn't hear it the first time. Well, if you know your script, that part's easy. You just say it again, right? And remember, you're allowed to say things more than once in a home. Don't think like, oh, I already said that to him once. You have to say things 3, 4, sometimes 5 times the same person within a 20-minute time frame for them to even get it sometimes. But then they get it and it works, and that's sales, it's communication. So we go back to the presentation where we handled it, okay? And then what we do is we go like this. We say, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that you get your foot in the door, but keep it comfortable at the same time. Or you could say like this, the most important thing, Joe and Mary, is making sure that we get your foot in the door with the benefits today, but keep it comfortable at the same time. So you could say it either way. You could say, so what we're going to do today for you, I love saying that. What we're going to do today, you're taking control and telling them. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make sure that you get your foot in the door with the benefits, but we'll make sure we keep them comfortable at the same time for you. And you're nodding your head, Or you could tell them the other, like I said, is the most important thing is making sure that you get your foot in the door with the benefits today, but making sure we keep them comfortable for you at the same time. And then that's your assumption and your transition back into the sales, that kind of where you left off at when they gave you that rebuttal, So that's the method. So if you imagine you're in a home and somebody tells you, I want to think about it. What would you do? So we'd agree, right? First thing we'd agree. Then what?
You're going to remind them of what they actually stated, that they told you that like the need of it, they even said it.
Yeah. So go back, remind them of where you guys already talked about that. And then what?
Assess the problem, really make sure that they see where the problem is.
Yep. And then what then assume the sale. Just assume the sale. So that's why I said it's like 3 but 4 steps, because really the first step is you got to proactively handle them in the presentation. But after that, there's 3 steps. Then once they give you a rebuttal is we calm down, agree, proceed, make sense, I understand. Most of my best clients have felt the same way, right? Then after we tell them that, and say, but if you can remember back in the presentation, so step number 2, after 3/ is you get to where you went over it. And then the last final step, we call that assuming the sale. And it's just hitting it with that line and letting them know the most important thing is getting your foot in the door today, but keeping it comfortable at the same time. And you can go right into either reducing them down, so Joe and Mary, I know that the expert simulator, I know that, your family really needs this coverage here is what we were talking about for your family. However, to get your foot in the door today and still make sure, because later on down the line, once you have your foot in the door and you own the benefits, you can always make adjustments to your program down the line. So if later on we need to add some more benefits for you, if you want to add some family members down the line, we can always do that too. But the most important thing, we'll make sure you get your foot in the door today. So instead of doing the $100,000 of coverage, we could actually get your foot in the door with a $50,000 of coverage, okay? And that'll still make sure that it's comfortable for you at the same time. So I'll just start filling out the application again, so you get right back into the app.
That's really good because most companies out there, like with the work benefits, you don't have a say on what you're getting, what you're not getting.
Yeah.
In most times.
You're right.
Once you got that, that's set in stone, and you can't afford it 6 months from now because you got into an accident or something like that, or your car broke down, you can't pay for it, then they're done.
Yeah.
So the good thing about this is like, okay, get the bare minimum, get your foot in the door, and then when you're financially a little bit more stable, you can just give me a call. We don't even have to go through the entire thing. Just tell me how much you want, and I'll tell you what you got.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Point,
So what we call that, guys, is and this is the terminology you can use, because it's good when you say this terminology, because it shows that you're professional, your industry, you do it all the time. And stuff. But one of them is member owned and member controlled permanent and portable benefits. Most of our members, they don't own or control any of their benefits, and the benefits they have are not portable, are not permanent, and definitely not portable. So they quit, get fired, retire. They're really gone forever. They lose them forever. So these benefits, they're member owned and member controlled. You own these and you control these. You can increase them, decrease them. You have them forever. Nobody can ever take them away from you. Once you qualify for these today, they're in place forever, which means today, tomorrow, when you're 99 years old, wherever, however, whenever, wherever, however you end up passing away, this is guaranteed to be there for your family, So, so that's like what I tell everybody that I sign up. I tell them that. I just want them to feel confident. I want them to know, like, as soon as I get this, I tell them, like, no one's going to call you up down the line and tell you have to fill out more paperwork for this stuff. No one's going to call you up 10 years from now and tell you your coverage is going to be gone. This is guaranteed permanent forever. Once you qualify for this is yours. Nobody can ever take this away from you, because they're used to stuff getting taken away from them, so, and they even don't get it sometimes. One guy was like, so how long do I have to pay into this before it'll pay out to my family? I'm like, that's a great question. See? Yeah, like, if I was a younger, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Immediately. But then when you get, so I remember I was like, that's a great question. And that's why they set this program up. See, is today you enrolled into the program, it was $74 a month, right? And when you pass away, your family's going to get $50,000. Now, that means, like, as soon as I leave here today, you're covered. So which means you can literally pass away this week and your family will get all this. You pay $77, your family gets $50,000, right? The name of that contract, guys, is called an aleatory contract. If you guys want to remember your life insurance test, you probably forgot all that stuff already.
I took it 2 years ago.
Aleatory contract. That basically means something where you pay in a little bit, but you get a lot. So the thing that why to do this is you can say, so I'm not going to go into too much on that. I could go on a whole little story on freedom of choice, but let's just say that, just on a general note, that if you have $77 a month, and you put that into, and let's say instead of doing this program that you're going to do here, Joe, let's say we just take that $77 a month we put into a savings account. And 2 months go by, you put $144 in there or whatever, $154, and you pass away. What's your family going to get? They're going to get the $154 that's in your savings account. Here, you put $77 a month in here, 2 months go by, you pass away, your family is $50,000. What? And the bank account is taxable, and they're getting less than 1%. Over here is tax-free, and you're getting 4.5%. So that's why they set this up for all the members and made sure that it was available to them. Now, the main thing is trying to qualify. Everybody always wants to try and take advantage of the program, but unfortunately, not everybody can qualify. So I need to make sure you can even qualify first, and then I take it away from them, you know? So that's good stuff, guys. Does this make sense, what we went over? Make pretty good sense, right? Any questions? No?
Pretty solid.
Questions on virtual? Can you got you? Well, we just got
No questions.
Any questions?
No, right now.
I can't hear you. I don't know if my speaker wasn't working or not.
Oh, no, I don't have any questions. Can you hear me now?
Speaker, same as system. Oh, you know what? Maybe it's the volume's down. Let me see. There we go. Can I hear you now?
Yeah, I don't have any questions.
Hey, okay, loud and clear.
So,
All right, good. What time is it? What do you guys got?
150.
Oh wow, we're ahead of schedule, man. We're really ahead of schedule. I mean, literally, that was the lesson. That's what we wanted to go over today. Yeah. So I really would say after that, you know, it would be proactive, master the proactive, so that you don't get to the reactive situation, but be ready for the reactive situation too. Be ready. You do not want to get to the end of the presentation and then they give you a rebuttal and it catches you off guard. Like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. You know, you're in a boxing match. You didn't get expected to hit in the face a couple times, you know, right? So be ready when they hit you. Don't be like, oh my God, I can't believe they said that to me. You should be ready for them to just go into the end, be like, all right, now it's time to do closing, time to close. Where are we going to go with this one? We going over here? We going over here? Do I have to go off a need? Do I have to go off of this? You know, and then one of my favorite reactive rebuttals, even proactive, you could use this proactively before you even close, is you just say to them, you say, so Joe and Mary, if I had to ask, I ask all my clients this, you know, if I had to ask you guys, what would you say if I asked you, what is the most important thing in the world to you? I ask all my clients this, and what do you think everybody's done? I always say family, that's right. But if you had to put a price tag on your family, what would you say your family would be worth to you? Joe, Mary, what would you think? What would you put a price on your family? You couldn't, right? So you say they're priceless. So, you know, Joe, you know, we can't put a price on our family, you know, but fortunately, they were able to put a price on protecting our family, which is just $134 a month, less than a cable, less than a cell phone bill. But if I had to ask you, Joe, when do you think the most important time to start protecting our family is? Today? Yeah. Well, probably yesterday, right? So, what I say. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make sure that you get your foot in the door with the benefits, but keep it comfortable at the same time. Okay. Most families, and if I ask you, most people out there, nobody is out there, Joe, drawing up plans for failure, right? People don't plan to fail. The problem is, though, is that they fail to plan. And that's what we're talking about here, Joe, is for you and your family. Now you guys are going to actually have a plan in place. And they call this the family plan for the family man, the union plan for the union man, right? So the most important thing is making sure you can qualify for the benefits, because everybody wants to try and qualify, but not everybody can. So I need to make sure you can qualify first. So Joe, were you guys ever in Alcoholics Anonymous or AA? Have you ever used narcotics, sedatives, or hallucinogens, any drugs not prescribed by a doctor? Do you have any DUIs or DWIs? Any in the past 5 years? No? Okay, great. Do anything crazy? Do anything wild like scuba diving, skydiving, skin dipping, skinny dip? You guys skinny dip? All right, not skinny dip, but I just wanted to see what you say. Okay. All right, and I just keep going through it, right? But I always like make a little joke over there. And then I start assuming the sale and filling out the application. And that's a big part of closing, guys. Big part of closing is just assuming that sale and filling out that application and just doing it. Just fill it out. And they didn't even say yes sometimes. They didn't say yes. But here's the thing. If I go into 10 homes and I just fill out 10 applications, I'm going to get a couple extra sales that I would have gotten if I just waited to feel like, are you guys going to do this now? All right, let's fill out the application then.
When you're,
You know?
sorry to interrupt, when you fill in the application, would it like, okay, so you're finished with the needs analysis. Now, when you're filling the application, like, would you just tell them, like, okay, let me just put the information, the needs analysis, and you're just literally filling it up while you know, because we said, okay, we're gonna start in the board and then we'll put the information in the computer.
Mhm.
So you would use that time instead of actually putting in the needs analysis, start running the application right away. No?
No.
Or you wouldn't do that.
No, definitely. I do the needs analysis because you got to establish the need. Application's completely separate. You know, application is the application. You know, this is what you got to fill out to get the coverage. And, you know, so, but I use that to assume the sale. That makes sense. Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, I don't want to keep us if we don't got any more questions, and I think we knocked this out pretty quick today. So good lesson, good job. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Good job in training class so far. You got 3 more days. Soak it up as much as you guys can, and have a great day today.
You as well. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
See you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome.